Happy New Year and happy 2014. It's 2014. And it's going to be a great year. Welcome to my very first Silhouette video. And I am working with the Designer Edition program. And I'm also working on a Mac. So for those of you using PCs, it'll look different than what you're seeing right now. And I don't know the conversion, so I'm sorry if I mention any shortcuts or anything like that. I don't know the difference. Okay, so basically in this one, what I'm going to do is I did my layout for my project life on a 12 by 12. That's the size of my page. And I'm not creating, this is not digital. It's going to be, I'm going to print and cut all these elements and cards and everything, pictures, and I'm going to bring it to my craft table and add a little bit more, ink things up, to just add a little bit more texture, layers, whatever I need to do till I'm satisfied. You'd think right now, maybe looking at it, you're done. I'm not done because I am a tactile person. Three things that are really super important to me are color, texture, and layers when I'm working in art. And to me, this is art. So it's creating, you're being creative. And it's my life, and my children's life and my family, my husband. So I want to mesh all of it together without making it look overboard and tacky. So this is the process that I go through when I am doing just that. I first of all create or use the 12 by 12 mat right here, and then I create my cards. I design my papers. Some of the papers I design in Photoshop, which I've done right down here, and then I'll import it. And then others, these little ones right here, the 3x4s, I designed right here in Silhouette, and as well as this one as well, I designed here in Silhouette. The postcards were a freebie on the internet, and now you have to be careful with freebies because some freebies are not for commercial use and some are just solely for personal use. Okay, so please make sure that you are absolute sure of its condition for usage. Some of the elements I purchased in the Silhouette store and some I created. So there's a bit of both. I do design and sell, and I'm learning always about different things in Silhouette and how to work with fonts, in designing fonts. I'm gravitating a lot towards papers and fonts right now. I love designing papers. I'm a paper hoarder, virtually and in real life. I hoard paper. I love it. And now I'm addicted to fonts as well. And I'm starting to create my own fonts, which is really cool. I'm super excited about that. And elements, not a whole lot of fun for me right now, but I am trying with the basics. But yeah, it doesn't give me a tickle like the paper or the fonts do. They make me giggle. Elements don't. So some of these elements belong to the Silhouette store. Yes, and I'm sure some of them you'll recognize. The banners, these little elements right here, and the arrow. Okay, so what did I do here? Because that's what you want to know, right? So I did my cards. I selected the page that I was going to work at, when that was the 4x6 at the top and at the bottom and the 3x4s in the center. I always gravitate towards those pages, and I don't know why. I'm going to mix it up this year. So, but for my title page, that's what I'm going to go with, my favorite. And I really needed a fun font and a fun saying for my title. And I also wanted a subtitle. So I really like the Look at This, It's 2014. This Look at This was at Silhouette store, and it's 2014. That was a font that I played around with and put together. And it's fairly close. One is more narrow than the other, but not a big deal. They almost look like they could belong almost in the same family. And the subtitle is A New Beginning, because for our family we have a whole bunch of new beginnings going on. We've got one of our children going to be entering their well, he's an adult and he'll be graduating from college soon, so he will be starting his new life. When we have another child, actually not a child, another adult who will be going off to college this year. And then of course there's my two smaller children whom I call the trolls. They are going to be going into new school systems because we are in the process of selling our home and moving into new home in a different city, and then plus new jobs starting and things like that. So there's a lot of new beginnings, going on in our home, and it's all great. And this is our year, and I say it's our year because we have had so many hardships medically, and through the past 3 years and some that this is our year. It's going to be a good one, and we are going to be awesome. And that's why I chose this funky little picture here, dorky little picture, goofy little picture of my son, because he's a bit of a goofball. And I just love it. It goes together so well. Be awesome. And so this little phrase here, tell me your hopes, your fears, your dreams, was something that my husband plays. It's, he always says it to me, and then I always say something silly back. And so I really wanted it to be part of my title page because I want the whole family working on this too, to tell me your hopes, your fears, your dreams, and these little words that I put here, I'm going to try to cut them out, but I don't know if they'll give me a clean cut, so I might just use a gel pen when I do it. We'll see. We'll try it out. So here's my layout. This is what I'm hoping to achieve. No, I know I will achieve this. I'm going to achieve this. And here's how I'm going to do it. Once I have my layout all sorted out and I put all my layers together, because these are all just layer upon layer, okay, they're just all different elements, then I'm just going to cut it all up, dissect it, take it apart, and then open up new tabs. As you see here on the bottom, they're all new tabs. And then I'm going to start printing. I'm going to do the first one is the print and cut, which is my 4x6 cards. When you do print and cut, first of all, I'm going to move that out of the way. Make sure there's nothing on your mat or on your paper other than what you want to print and cut. That's important. Second, you're going to go and open up your registration marks right here with this icon, and you're going to check that off, and then a grid here will show with these little lines in the square and stuff. Make sure that your elements in paper or anything design is not on the grid, but it's away from it, okay, and not past the red line, but within it. And then all you're going to do is you're going to send it to your printer. Now I'm not hooked up for printing right now, but you would send it to your printer and it would print it. Then after that, when you have it printed, you would go to back here to your program and select your scissors icon. Make sure that your elements or papers or anything, cards, have the cut edge or wherever they need to be cut. If it's showing like this, where there's nothing highlighted, then that means it's not telling the Cameo to cut. Okay, it won't cut it. So it's super important that you make sure that what you want to cut is showing. Okay, so that page is all ready to go. And then after you've done that, then I just bring over my postcard ones and print those. Now, these are pictures. Now, the pictures are a tricky thing because you want to print them and get the best quality. And now, these pictures are not created equal because some of them, 3 of them were taken with a professional DSLR camera. The other ones were taken with the iPhone. And they're softer, they have more grain in them, and and the lighting is not the best, plus they've had filters added on them which added more grain, and so on and so forth. But I still want to get the best quality picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Silhouette Studio. I'm going to go to Preferences, and I'm going to go down here and select Output, and I'm going to select the highest DPI. And so the highest here is 1200 DPI, and I'm going to select OK. And that will give me the best quality that I can get from that image. And as I said, all these pictures are not created equal. And I'll just bring it down here just to show you. These two were taken with an iPhone, and this one has better lighting, so it's a little bit more crisp than this one right here. you know, so it's more softer. And whereas this one here is sharper and it's better quality. So, you know, you're going to get a better quality image than these ones. You can also print them other various ways, you know, through your Selfie or Photoshop, whatever, but I'm doing it all within Silhouette, and that way I get the right measurements that I have selected for my project. Okay. Now, oh, and then also when you're going to send it off to print, another thing is the beauty about doing it on Silhouette too is once you've printed it, you can then also cut it. So I made sure that all my images have the cut line right here. Okay. And I also noticed that my old logo is on there because I used to be a children's photographer. So I'm going to have to do some, get the right one, not the internet one. Okay, so we're gonna have to dig around. Okay, so next one is the print and cut, another print and cut. So same deal here. We're just gonna make sure that that's not there. Go get your registration marks, and then your mat's gonna show registration marks. Make sure that everything is inside the lines, the red line, and within the grid here. And then you're going to send it off to print. It's printed. Then you're going to make sure that your cut lines are where they should be. So right here, it's showing that it's going to cut the wording. And I don't want it to cut the wording because I want it to be a print and cut. So I'm going to select no cut. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to group them together. Okay. And there you go. So another thing I wanted to show you was that, I'm going to have to zoom in here. On the banner, I have dashed lines and there's nothing solid behind them. And I kind of liked that initially until I was, of course, playing around and then realized, hello, there's internal offset. Okay, so where's my banner? There it is. So what I did is now I have the solid here, but I also did the internal offset. And when we do that, I'm going to select it and ungroup it. Actually, I didn't have to ungroup it because, and bear with me for 1 second. Okay. It's all, whoops. Now it's just playing games with me. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of that for right now. And I'm just going to grr. Yeah, I'm going to grr. Okay. That's grouped. Yes, it is. It's grouped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, because I still want the stitching, but I need it to cut, right? So I need it to cut straight. Because if I were to take this like this, do you see what's happened here? It's going to just almost like score it, you know, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, get out of that. And then I'm going to go up here to my offset window and then select internal offset. But first I need to actually select something. Internal. And then you see what happened here. So it's created the internal offset there. And I'm just going to go here and select the dashes that I want. And I like that right there. Another thing that's also very important is that you go all the way to the bottom and select print. Because if you don't make that selection, it won't print that. Okay. You also need to make sure that it's not going to create a cut line, and it didn't. So that's perfect. Okay. So all it's going to do is cut around the edges. And so that's how you would create the dashes inside the flag. Then the next one is, again, another print and cut. And we're just going to go up to registration. And they're on the grid, so I'm just going to completely move that over here. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure that only the outside is selected for cut, and that's perfect. So that is ready to go. And these ones are just straight cutting. So I'll be cutting these on white, and this area here, I'll be doing it on green paper. And this one right here, I'm going to attempt it, but it's a tricky thing for these ones because they're really small, and I hope you can see them here, but they're really small and they're really swirly. So I don't know if I'm going to get a clean cut. And as a precaution, I went and did a print and cut right here with the little blessing, old Irish blessing, may the wind always be at your back. My husband's half Irish, so it's a great blessing for our year. And so I did that as a safety to print it, but I'm also going to attempt to cut it. I'm hoping I'm going to play around with paper and see what happens. So that will be cut on white paper, and I'm just going to check it and make sure that it's just going to cut what it's supposed to, and that looks good. Okay, and then what I would do is I would just select all of that, move it, select all this, then move it up here. And I'm just going to double check this here because I've squished my wordings together up here, and I want to make sure that my grouping is nice, you know, that I have a good, and it all looks good here where it's squished. I like that word squished, and I like when I squish my stuff together. Okay, so that looks good there. And our last is the mats for the pictures. So again, this is a straight cut. I just created the shape of the rectangle and the size, and I would move this off, and then I would just simply put it through the Cameo to cut on white paper, and I would have the mats for my pictures. And then I would go back to my craft table, and assembly would begin. Assembly will begin. So I will see you in the next video when I'm showing you the actual page itself on my table, and hopefully it turns out just as great as it looks here. It will, and I'll be adding more things too. So I'll see you in the next video.